I'd like to introduce our first guest speaker, if I could, at this time. Most people have a hard enough time achieving success in one career. Our guest today, Carl Jeffers, has done that in two careers simultaneously. Please join me in welcoming Carl Jeffers.
We're going to be taking a little tour of America, and we're going to see where we are and as a country and as a people. We're going to see what America looks like today and who are we. Essentially, what I want to talk about first is the reality disconnects that we have in America today and why those reality disconnects will enable you to better appreciate what my role is and what we're doing here today. We've mentioned perception is reality. Reality disconnects are premises that make sense but lead to wrong conclusions, or conclusions that make sense based on false premises. Let me give you an example. The guy says, I lost weight with Jenny Craig. I pay her $400 a week. I can't afford to eat. Now, that kind of thinking will be counterproductive here this morning. See, I'm not here to motivate you. I can't motivate you to do what I've been doing since yesterday morning, and regularly, actually, almost every week or so. But I do it because that's what it takes for me to be successful in what I do. And I have to motivate myself to that level, not anyone else. And you have to motivate yourself to rise to the level of whatever it takes for you to be the most successful you can be in your endeavors. Now, some speakers come in to actually motivate you, or make you think they've motivated you. And they give a great speech, and you get all pumped up, and you're jumping up and down, you start singing songs, first in unison, later on in four-part harmony, and so forth. And, that's terrific. Now, with that background, let's kind of everyone get on board and sort of proceed on a little tour of America, its people and its preferences and cultures, and with some sort of fun stops on the way. Let's talk about, first of all, where we are today in this country. We now have a population of about 290 million Americans. For the first time, we have reached that point. In 4 years, there'll be 300 million Americans. Immigration is now the major force driving that. You heard Joe mention immigration concerns earlier, too, as well. He's absolutely right. That's what's driving that population increase. But the growth in America today is still primarily focused in the Sun Belt. Hispanics are 25% of the population, or rather will be 25% of the U.S. population by 2040. They are already the largest single minority group in the country, larger even than African Americans, who represent roughly about 10 to 12% of the population. But when I talk about that statistic, I oftentimes see reservations, people thinking, oh, no, Hispanics can't possibly, grow to be 25% of the entire population of the country by 2040. Well, if you don't believe me, think about this. Not 2040, but right now, today, Hispanics are 25% of the populations of Texas and California, the two largest states in the country. So if that's the case, hitting that in the whole country by 2040 is not going to be that difficult. Now, it's interesting. There was no connection to cities, but of the fastest growing counties, the exurbs, which I talked about before, 5 of them are in Georgia: Ohio, Nashville area, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, Texas. Now, there's clearly a lot of potential there because that's where the growth is of the counties that represent the exurbs. And by the way, of the 100 fastest growing counties in America, George Bush won 97 of them in the 2004 election. So there's clearly a political aspect, don't ignore what I was talking about, of how we are positioning ourselves where we are in the country. Now, there's another group that we should talk about, because they also ultimately will be part of your future, the Generation Xers. Those are the kids that were born from 1965 to 1981. They followed the baby boomers, which includes a lot of people in this room, but they don't follow anything else about the baby boomers. They define themselves as very differently. They live in different places. They are moving to different places. In fact, of the 10 states with the highest percentage of baby boomers, 4 of them have the smallest percentage of this group of Generation Xers. But maybe the most exciting group beyond that is what's called the millennials. And that's the group of Americans who were born after 1982. And that makes them about 25 years old. Guess what? That group is 26% of the entire population of the United States today. 26%. Now, over the next 10 years, a major problem that's going to be facing our economy will be finding new workers. The growth in the labor supply market is running at about 1.1% a year. That's how much increased labor supply we have available to us each year. But that is far short of the need, because the annual need is increasing at a rate of 2.6 per year. That's double what's available. That's more than double. Now, for the new economy, we have to look to the urban areas and the inner cities for new labor. And we have to. So diversity is important for our economic survival. The urban markets and the inner cities are the only place where we can find the labor for the millions of jobs that will be needed in the country over the next 10 years. I mean, your kids don't want those jobs. I mean, your kids, what are they, 15, 16? They're out freelance designing websites for 10 grand a pop. They're not going to take those jobs. So we have to go where the sources are. Now, we're still on the tour, but we're taking a little cultural review break, I guess, to kind of get to know our millennials a little bit more, because that's a very important group, that 25 years and younger group. One of the biggest problems we have in America today is white suburban parents whose kids think they're black. Now, let me get a little water from that. But I'm going to leave you with some brief thoughts that I hope will give you some things to think about and to try to, in some ways, juxtapose them with the things that we've talked specifically about with regard to your business. Always remind yourself of your strengths. Do that regularly. You know why? Because at least half the people that you know, and maybe more, will be happy to continuously remind you of your weaknesses. So you need to be the one to remind yourself of the strengths that you have. And that's not a pep talk. You have to strategize to deliberately position yourself in situations where you can use your strengths. And remember, patience, as they say, patience is the most difficult of all man's virtues to achieve. Why? For it runs the most against man's nature. And then of that group, the final thought there is, don't carry bitterness or resentments around with you. Having resentments is like taking poison yourself and hoping the other guy dies. It destroys you, not your enemy, and it's counterproductive. You know, it's your birthday today, and happy birthday it is indeed. But my friends, you know, none of us are promised tomorrow. Last week, 150,000 people lost their life in one day. So we are not promised tomorrow. But if you plan for tomorrow and plan for next week or 5 years from now, then that way, if we get to tomorrow, you'll have a better chance of realizing the goals and objectives that you'd like to accomplish while you're here for that day. So I want you to remember these themes. I want you to feel comfortable in pulling them up, recalling them anytime you feel like you want to use these tools to help you be motivated. And I want you to remember that you've got a partnership here with a company that absolutely is committed to you and is looking to the future, to helping you honor the past and celebrating the future, and remembering how you can now expand both your personal understanding of what you do, not as an inspector, but as a home advisor, and understanding that you're in the quality care business, and take advantage of the things that are changing in America that you can't do anything about, even if you don't like them. So take advantage of them and make them work for you, and then be positively assertive. So with that, thank you so very much for having me visit with you this morning. Take these thoughts, file them away. You're here with Wynn, your strategic partner. I think you're a good team. Don't let the team or yourself down. Thank you. God bless.